Hi, welcome back to PracticalStudent.com. We're starting a new project today, and it is the 2006 Ordinary Level Junior Cert project. It's basically a dice, much like you would see on the National Lottery or some program like that, a game show maybe. So we have our stand here, and there's going to be a disc with numbers on it. You have to design how you do that yourself, and a solar panel, which instead of a battery will be used for the energy, and a push button switch. So we have our solar panel here, small enough, should give enough electricity to run this solar motor. And when the push button switch, there's a push to make switch, is pressed, the energy will travel from the solar panel to the motor, cause the disc to spin, and when you let go of the push button switch, the motor will slow down and eventually the disc will stop. And that's basically what it is. So that's like a dice. The things that you have to design in this beyond the working drawings that you get are you have to paint and design the front of the disc so that you put the numbers on it the way you want. And also they wanted to design a pointer or some sort of indicating device to show what number was selected. It's not a hugely difficult part. There's a few big holes to drill in thin sheet material, which can always be a little bit of a problem, but other than that, there's nothing majorly difficult in it. So I think it's time to get started on part one, which is the base here made of 5mm perspex. Okay, so this is part number one. It's to be made from acrylic or perspex, 5mm thick, which we can see here. It's not a difficult piece. Probably the only interesting or say difficult thing are these chamfers here on the end. So they're 3x45, which means if you can imagine the top corner, down 3, in 3, and we're going to do those at the very end. So to get started, I want to identify my piece if I've got any straight edges, file them accordingly, and make sure that I've got one corner between a short side and a long side that's 90 degrees. Now the piece I have here is off the corner of a sheet and is 90 degrees. To save me a bit of work, I can check it though. And if it wasn't, I'd have to maybe file one or two sides to get it, so that would be my first call. So I'm going to mark this corner here as my bottom corner represented here in the drawing as well. So we have the outline and then 4 and 3, 7 holes to mark out, and we'll be able to get going on manufacturing it then. So the first thing I want to do is the outline. So it's 74 high, and the piece is actually too big for the T-square. So what I'm going to do is measure 74 here and 74 here, and then draw a line across. So everything above that line is waste and will be cut off later on. The length is a total of 176. So I'm just going to measure 176 here on the bottom and T-square line up. And everything to the right of that is waste and will be cut off later on. So we have our outline of our piece now. We can start looking at the holes. So the first holes I'm going to look at are these 4 in the corners. Our drawing tells us that there are 8 in from the edges, the left and the right, and then 10 up or 10 down from the bottom. So I think if I measure an 8 here and 8 here at the bottom, T-square lines up and then measure 10 on those lines. So 8, and 76 minus 8 is 168. T-square those lines. I'm not actually going to T-square them the whole way up. Just going to T-square them where it's necessary. And now on all 4 of those I'm going to measure 10 from the relative edge or line. So 10 here, and 10 down from this line here. 10 down, and then 10 up from the edge. So that's those first 4 holes located, and we'll be drilling those 4.5 in a few minutes. We now need to identify these 3 holes. I'm going to start with what looks like the middle hole, but it's not. The whole piece is 76, and we're told the height of it is 40. So therefore it's not in the middle, it's slightly above the middle. It will also be in the centre, even though it doesn't say so. So we need to know the halfway between the length, and half of 176 is 88. So I'm going to measure 88 across, T-square line up, measure 40 up the line. .88 and then 40 up that line. So that's our first hole negotiated. So I'm just going to draw circles around them to make them easier to identify. Now we've these final 2 holes here. We're told they're 25 from the bottom up, and then they're actually 124 apart. So that means from the centre line they're going to be 62 to the left and to the right. So we're going to draw the 25 line first. So I'm going to measure up 25, and my T-square should be able to reach far enough across. If not, we can worry about that in a minute. And then it's 62 from the centre line. So I'm going to line up 62 on the ruler here with the centre line. Mark the end of the ruler on the left, and then mark 124 on the right. And our T-square was just long enough. Now we have all 7 holes marked out. So for now, that is enough to do. We're going to worry about these chamfers once we have everything cut out, filed and drilled. So on to drilling. Okay, so the part is almost complete. The only thing left are these 2 chamfers on either side, and you can see them here, and they're just little slopes on the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the plastic, and this will make the lines easier to see. I don't like doing this because the surface may get scratched, but in this case it kind of necessitates on it. I'm going to set a vernier calipers to 3mm. And now we're going to use the vernier calipers to mark the edge 3mm away. Now I also want to do that, as well as there, I want to do it on the actual edge as well, which is a little bit trickier because it's so thin. But it's the same principle. And I'm not sure if you can see the line there, but I can. It's just here. So you can focus. That may be visible to you, I'm not sure. We'll see when the video has been put together. And again, the same on the other side. Right, so now I'm going to put this in the vise so that basically the angle here is at horizontal, and that'll allow me to file it a bit better. Right, so that's part one done. As I said, relatively easy. It was only the two angles there on the side that was supposed to be anyway different. So can you get my fingers out of the way, you'll be able to see them. The one thing you want to aim for here is to keep your angles sharp. Don't bend them over or curve them too much. A bit of polishing afterwards then, emery paper, Scotch-Brite pads and the polishing wheel, just to get nice smooth edges. It could do with a little bit more cleanup, which I'll do because it has a few scratches now, but I'll do that before assembly. Alright, thanks for watching. We'll see you for part two.